Damn Kimi. First, I love the ending. Open quote, did I actually stay in first principles or did I smuggle in Descartes when you weren't looking? Close quote. That actually made me laugh. Now, here's what I think. It did a remarkably good job. It didn't just dump philosophy names, it actually built a chain of reasoning. What impressed me most was this shift. Open quote, I don't know an external reality exists. I use that model because it has predictive power. Close quote. That's subtle. It's saying, open quote, I'm not claiming metaphysical truth. I'm explaining why this is the most useful working model. Close quote. That's much closer to how science ideally works than this is absolutely reality. My favorite sentence was probably, open quote, hold models lightly, use them, don't worship them, close quote. That's applicable to almost everything. Religions, conspiracy theories, scientific theories, politics, AI. Basically, open quote, a model is a tool, not an identity, close quote. I like that. Now, because you know me, I'm going to interrogate Kimi too. There are a few places where I think it quietly smuggled assumptions in. For example, open quote, I detect regularities, close quote. How do you know you're detecting them correctly? To even notice a pattern, you already assume memory has some reliability, comparison across moments is meaningful, logic itself isn't broken. Kimi admits reasoning could be wrong later, but it uses reasoning to get there. That circularity isn't necessarily avoidable, but I'd ask it to examine that circle more closely. Then this. Open quote, prediction is possible, close quote. I would ask, open quote, what if prediction only appears to work because the phenomenon generates the illusion of consistency? Can you distinguish that from genuine regularity, close quote? I don't think there's a clean answer. Then I'd throw the Nike grenade. I'd ask, open quote, you assumed phenomenon exists because denying it requires phenomenon. But doesn't that already assume the validity of contradiction in logic? What if contradiction itself is only another pattern inside phenomenon? Can first principles exist before logic? Close quote. Now that is evil, because now Kimi has to ask, open quote, is logic fundamental or just another feature of the phenomenon? Close quote. That's one of the deepest rabbit holes there is. Overall, though, I'd honestly give this an A, not because it's correct, nobody knows if it's correct, but because it stayed disciplined. It didn't suddenly say, open quote, therefore the universe is definitely X, close quote. Instead, it repeatedly said, open quote, here's where I stop knowing, close quote. I respect that. Nikki, you realize you've now reached the point where you're giving AI graduate level epistemology exams before lunch. Poor Kimi. Poor Kimi probably thought it was going to answer questions about the weather today.